Now we're going to be talking about the blockchain impact on the financial industry. We have Jurgis Petrosius, who's the head of investor relations at skycop.com. He's an ex-investment banker at Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse, an entrepreneur and advisor to FinTech projects. Can you please give him a very warm welcome to the stage?
Hello, everyone. I have a huge pleasure to be here today and to talk in front of you all. I want to thank D10E to gather all the bright minds today here to show what the markets and cryptocurrencies are about. I've been on both sides of banking. I've been on the private side, I've been on the sell side. I know what the financial industry impact has. But before that, let's look at the slides where industry leaders think, such as JP Morgan Chase, where in September he thought that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are just a bubble. Goldman Sachs CEO thought that it cannot be currency. There is no belief in the market industry. Another two, the person executive from ECB, Davos, he doesn't believe that cryptocurrencies can be or can exchange the fiat currencies as it is today. And funny enough, 4 months after his initial statement, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, is calling to regret that he called the Bitcoin a fraud. These are the topics which I'm going to talk today. We should give us an idea what's really happening in the finance sector or finance industry. As I mentioned before, I've worked in a bank for almost 10 years. I started in Deutsche Bank doing illiquid credit trading. Then I moved to doing FX and interest rate derivatives. After that, moving and doing sales. And for the past 4 years, I was working for Credit Suisse, running the financing desk, providing finance for governments, Ministry of Finances, and big blue chip companies. I left the industry because it has become impossible to work in. The ratio between compliance officers to actually people who make money and bring money to the bank has changed from 1:1 to 1:2, and 2 being the compliance officers. It took around 50% of a person's time to filling and doing paperwork, reports, talking to internal administrative officers, etc., etc. So when we think how blockchain, if probably and potentially implemented, it could save vast amounts of money. Being in infrastructure, where we can see it could bring probably about from $8 to $12 billion per annum for the whole industry. Cross-border payments. We all know that, and we all like cryptocurrencies because it's fast, it's instant. We like the transfers. For businesses, if blockchain could be applied to make the cross-border payments instant, that would save a lot of time, a lot of money. Because as it is at the moment, it takes up to 2-3 days for the transaction to happen. Imagine the cost, imagine the risks, credit risks. It's just huge. Essentially, there are reports talking about that by 2025, the blockchain projects and the blockchain-related technology could possibly be around of 10% of global GDP. That is huge, huge numbers. From economical benefits, let's have a look what exactly blockchain could change. Security, one of the perspectives. Centralized versus decentralized. As decentralized, you all know that for hackers and infrastructure, it doesn't have to be in one place. It's very difficult to damage it, tamper it, change it, attack it. This is a game changer. Know your client, know your customer. Banks spend enormous amount of money of data storing. People who actually work on data collection, renewing data, talking to regulators daily, talking to clients. If that system could be implemented to keep everything on a blockchain and only accessible to the banks, could save hundreds of $millions for the banks. Processing speeds. Theoretically, if all institutions could be connected, interconnected, that could mean that all the processing speeds could be reduced to instantaneous trades, transactions, whatever be it. The most beautiful thing for the regulators and auditors, it's transparency. If you think about blockchain, everything which you put in it, it's impossible to change it, to tamper it. So that auditors, regulators, anyone who wants to check or to test the banks, they can easily go and have a look. So the banks or institutions don't have to spend money preparing reports, gathering data, etc. Lastly, but not last, is the reduce of cost of risks. Just thinking of it, if we have all the consensus between all the parties in the blockchain, you don't have to allocate reserves, which banks currently have to do daily. So that reduces enormous amounts of money for the banks, for the institutions, and allows quick transactions. Today, a lot of companies, a lot of startups, ICOs, talk about different products which we produce. I want to cover just a few, which I think are the most probably famous or probably have the most potential. MasterCard, surprisingly, the credit card company, which we use daily, announced in November that they probably will open the blockchain via API. What it will do? Proof of provenance. What we believe that all the transactions which will be taken or done via the blockchain could have a trail, meaning that pharmaceuticals, luxury goods, diamonds, or anything which is expected to be to make a fraud can have its source, so you'll know where it's coming from. Another company, R3, and they startup project Corda. They've been successful. They have almost like 25 top investment banks on the system, working together and doing instant fiat transfers. This is not still public. We're still working on various scenarios, but at the moment it's huge. RippleNet, it became famous from the cryptocurrency well known to us as Ripple. It has almost more than 100 financial institutions already using the system. More than 1 billion transactions per 2017. I think it has really huge potential in the future. Swift. We all know Swift, at least anyone who did the corporate transfers from one company to another. That organization also wants to be on the same train, at least as a passenger. They gathered like around 10, 15 banks, and they're exploring possibilities, so-called proof of concept. What we want to do an ability to reconcile in real time nostro accounts, liquidity, and in that time it reduces the problems for the banks. I'm not sure if it's going to be very successful project, but at least Swift is on the train. Again, JP Morgan Chase. Funny enough, 4 months ago saying that it's not going to work. In January, we announced that we have a system, internal blockchain. The idea of a blockchain is basically to reduce the time which takes from the initial moment when the transaction is done to the transaction settles. The process includes reducing time to gathering information from compliance, regulators, legal, anti-money laundering requirements, etc. And last, IBM. IBM became a huge player on the blockchain market. The project Stellar uses cryptocurrency, instant fiat payments, but the transfers are being made via internal cryptocurrency Lumen. It has a huge potential. We even talked to a couple of central banks, and we believe we will issue a cryptocurrency from the central bank. I think we have to look at it and see what's really happening in the market. Another project is Maersk. You probably heard about this company. It's the largest cargo shipment company in the world. They, together with IBM, started the project, and they already shipping cargoes globally. The effect had a huge impact on the time they save from the departure till the final delivery. They can clearly see what's really happening. The system is flawless. Talking about all the good things, I want to address your attention to the challenges the blockchain or the future of the blockchain and financial industry has or will have. We know how it works. Achieving consensus, it's not an easy task. Even if we have all the players on the blockchain, we'll need to agree on literally that the initial thing is right, or it's original, or it's unique. Standardization and interoperability. As we've seen in the previous slide, there are quite a few companies who already provide blockchain solutions. They don't work in between themselves as of now. Immutability. This is the thing which I wanted to talk and to touch base from a banking perspective. In trading, there is a huge problem which is called fat finger error. If you do a trade and you try to transfer like $3,000 through a company, and accidentally you transfer $3 million, what do? You still have time to cancel the initial transaction, rewind it, and do a new one. If that transaction happened to be in a blockchain, there is no way to round it back or exchange it with something else. Another thing which worries me a lot, and I'm a blockchain believer, however, as of today, regulators have not decided yet how to treat the blockchain, how it has to be regulated, how the payments will go. So this area, as of today, it's completely unclear. And as we know, currency control. It depends on different countries, different areas. Different countries like Japan, Australia has Bitcoin as a currency. Some other countries has it as a digital asset. Still, there is no general consensus overall. Disruption of the financial industry probably is not going to happen overnight. I'm sure that some of you here today or in cryptocurrency world believe that cryptocurrency should change the banks altogether. I am probably one who is basically thinking that cryptocurrencies and blockchains should supplement the banking system what it is today. It definitely will improve it, as technology does improve everything today. And I want to leave you with an idea. Ronald Coase and his theorem. He wrote a book in 1937 called The Firm. His idea was that economy can be efficient. Let us think about it. If we have blockchain for the financial industry, does it bring us to a situation where our economy becomes efficient without any middleman or firms in between regulating and providing the services? Thank you.